She would lure women, pregnant women. She would carry out illegal C-sections, then harvest the mom's organs, and then sell newborns to couples in the United States for up to 250,000 pesos.
A mysterious midnight clip spreads across social media. It appears to show a well-known motorcycle group intercepting one of the most sought-after figures connected to cross-border organized activity, a woman online communities refer to as La Diabla. What follows is a global power struggle involving criminal networks, biker organizations, international agencies, and whispers of a massive $200 million demand. Let's break it all down. The alleged capture. The footage almost looks cinematic. Motorcycles racing down a Texas back road at night, dust swirling under red tail lights. Then, a sudden stop, and shock across the internet. Reports claim that a famous motorcycle club, long monitored by federal agencies, detained a woman known in media and intelligence circles as Lady Diabla. According to public records, her real name is Martha Alicia Mendez Aguilar. Authorities have linked her to a highly secretive network accused of exploiting vulnerable individuals near the U.S.-Mexico border. Due to the sensitivity and seriousness of the allegations, officials labeled her case a priority. A joint U.S.-Mexico analytical brief once described her as a strategic planner behind a covert operation that targeted vulnerable communities under the promise of care and support. Analysts say she misused that trust for unlawful purposes. When she was first arrested in Mexico in 2025, it seemed like the story was over, but then she disappeared. Authorities later suggested she crossed into the U.S. disguised under a false identity and was hiding somewhere between El Paso and Midland, Texas, in regions long rumored to have biker gang presence and cartel influence. That's where everything reportedly shifted. Early October chatter across secure channels hinted that a major event occurred in rural Texas. Locals reported seeing unusual convoys and hearing loud noises echoing across remote fields. Hours later, photos appeared online showing a woman restrained, surrounded by individuals wearing biker symbols. At first, users assumed it was misinformation, until a second leak surfaced. A handwritten message, allegedly demanding $200 million in return for her release, began circulating. If accurate, this wasn't a government operation. It was a private confrontation, and an unprecedented move.
A woman arrested in Ciudad Juarez is accused of conducting a very chilling operation.
News outlets in Mexico soon confirmed she had previously been investigated for operating a covert exploitation network. According to journalists and legal filings, families in distress were promised support, only to face misleading and harmful conditions. Officials believe dozens of victims were affected, generating large profits for criminal groups. But the story didn't end with her arrest. Reports from September 2025 say she evaded custody and secretly crossed into the U.S. disguised under false identity papers. Weeks later, rumors placed her in Texas, hiding in regions historically linked to both cartel activity and biker alliances. Then came the October signals, bike convoys, unfamiliar vehicles, and loud disturbances late at night near oil fields. Anonymous images soon spread online, a woman restrained beside members of a biker group. This raised a major question. Why would a biker club pursue a figure considered valuable to federal agencies? Soon after, a second leak surfaced, a message allegedly demanding $200 million from powerful criminal factions in exchange for her safe return. If authentic, this wasn't law enforcement. It was a private attempt at leverage involving high-risk players.
Lure women, pregnant women. She would carry out illegal C-sections, then harvest the mom's organs, and then sell newborns to couples in the United States for up to 250,000 pesos.
Here's where it gets complex. According to reports, the FBI's El Paso field office had already been coordinating with Mexican authorities to track and detain the woman. Under recent U.S. federal designations, the organization she was linked to is labeled a foreign threat entity, meaning any U.S. citizen interacting with its members could face serious federal consequences. When motorcycle club members reportedly reached her first, the situation shifted instantly. Federal protocols, cross-border intelligence partnerships, and national security rules suddenly collided with an outlaw motorcycle club world. A border area official later claimed, anonymously, that the bikers did not arrive by accident. Someone may have tipped them off. And this wouldn't be the first time organized groups and rogue insiders intersected. For decades, certain motorcycle clubs have been documented interacting with cartel-linked groups for smuggling and enforcement work. This time, however, instead of assisting, the bikers allegedly took someone of high importance for themselves, turning the scenario into a standoff with massive political and criminal implications. For years, outlaw motorcycle clubs in the US and Canada have been linked to Mexican cartels, acting as local distributors, enforcers, and logistics partners. Investigators say the same networks that moved cocaine through Canadian ports and meth across the Arizona desert have also been operating quietly in Texas. One reconstruction, drawn from intercepted communications and open-source posts by club members, claims Lady Diablo was ambushed near Odessa while hiding under the alias Maria Lopez. According to those accounts, a convoy of roughly a dozen bikes boxed in her SUV after midnight, smashed the windows and removed her before police arrived. She was then reportedly taken to a remote ranch that appears connected to a chain of club safehouses stretching from Midland to San Angelo and held under guard. If verified, this would represent an unsanctioned, extra-legal operation by a group already on the FBI's radar. That raises an obvious question: why take her alive? The answer being circulated on encrypted accounts is money. A ransom demand, allegedly posted on accounts traced to Mexico City, sought $200 million, payment in cryptocurrency and gold, with a promise to release the captive to cartel intermediaries within 96 hours. The notes framed the demand as repayment for so-called debts, though authorities have not authenticated those messages. U.S. officials have declined to comment publicly. Analysts caution that, if true, this would be an unprecedented development, a biker organization holding a cartel-affiliated operative for ransom rather than simply carrying out hits or trafficking. That shift would change the dynamics between clubs and cartels and could push both sides toward more open confrontation. To grasp why control over Lady Diablo matters, it helps to understand who she is alleged to be. Case files portray her not as a street-level enforcer but as a planner, someone who built and managed specialized criminal operations. According to investigative summaries, her network focused on deeply exploitative schemes that preyed on vulnerable people, using coercion and deception to turn desperate circumstances into profit. While most public attention on cartels centers on drugs and weapons, law enforcement sources say some groups have diversified into other illicit markets that inflict long-term harm on communities. Prosecutors describe Lady Diablo's role as organizational and strategic, recruiting, directing, and protecting cells that carried out those operations. That combination of reach, knowledge, and networks is what makes her capture, and any dispute over her fate, a potentially combustible flashpoint between bikers and cartels. What happened next, according to investigators, was not random. The operation was deliberate. Analysts say the network specifically targeted women in vulnerable situations, individuals without strong support systems, where urgent help was rare and disappearances might not immediately raise alarms. The method was disturbingly simple: approach expecting mothers with promises of housing, care, and a better future. For women living with economic hardship and uncertainty, these offers would have seemed like real hope, support during one of the most sensitive moments in life. Instead, officials allege these women were taken to isolated locations across northern Mexico, places falsely presented as safe shelters. There, according to case documents, unqualified individuals carried out harmful and unauthorized medical procedures without proper equipment or training. Many victims reportedly never returned home. Authorities say some infants were later moved across borders under fraudulent paperwork and placed into illegal adoption pipelines. Families left behind were left searching for answers, while investigators worked to connect the hidden network behind the scheme. The scale, according to legal filings, was designed to take advantage of social invisibility, preying on those without protection. Authorities estimate that infants could be illegally sold for the equivalent of roughly $13,000 per child. A business built on deception, vulnerability, and hidden transactions. How did a network this extreme operate so long without being disrupted? The answer lies in the structure behind it, and the organization backing it. Experts note that this criminal group did not operate like traditional centralized organizations. It relied on independent cells, small, specialized teams with their own tasks and discretion. That structure makes investigations difficult. Shutting down one cell does not stop the entire machine. In this case, authorities allege the network diversified its activities far beyond narcotics. Experts cite illegal adoption schemes, human exploitation, fuel theft, illegal trade in natural resources, and other financial crimes. Multiple income streams meant more stability, even under pressure. According to financial crime analysts, fraudulent adoption paperwork and forged identity records were used to move funds and hide illegal gains inside what appeared to be legitimate processes. This made tracing money extremely challenging for investigators. Across Mexico, the name La Diabla became a symbol of extreme criminal influence and manipulation. Her case drew national outrage, and when rumors surfaced that a motorcycle club had allegedly seized her, the internet erupted. People questioned everything. Was this revenge? A strategic move? Or a sign the criminal landscape was shifting, with rival networks turning on each other? Then came the whispers, a $200 million demand. If real, analysts say it could trigger retaliation, rescue missions, or covert negotiations, igniting a dangerous international standoff. With tensions rising, reports say federal and international agencies activated emergency coordination channels. This wasn't just a criminal case anymore. It became a geopolitical flashpoint involving cartels, outlaw biker groups, and cross-border law enforcement. The alleged capture didn't just threaten a criminal empire, it risked sparking a chain reaction across both sides of the border. Cyber chatter suggested multiple factions were mobilizing. Security analysts compared the situation to a high-risk hostage crisis, mixed with territorial power plays and intelligence leaks. If the ransom demand was genuine, it was unprecedented and extremely dangerous. Every major security agency in the region reportedly went on high alert, aware that retaliation or retrieval efforts could escalate rapidly. This wasn't just about one person. It was about networks, power, and information. Then came the morning in West Texas. Local residents awoke to a landscape buzzing with activity, federal vehicles, counter units, and tactical teams sweeping desert roads near Sonora. Rumors spread fast. Someone important had been found. But the twist. According to circulating reports, it wasn't the FBI or DEA who made first contact, it was the motorcycle club. This moment marked the start of what many now refer to as the Angels' War, a confrontation involving bikers, international crime syndicates, and multiple government agencies, each trying to seize control before the situation spiraled further. The world watched, agencies mobilized, and what started as a rumor began turning into one of the most unpredictable standoffs in recent history, with global implications still unfolding. Early radio traffic reviewed by officials suggested a woman had been located and turned over to authorities by a group calling itself the Brotherhood. She was reported as shaken but stable. Hours later, that name was linked online to a motorcycle group in West Texas. Officials described the situation as highly unusual, a civilian-initiated intervention involving a person connected to international investigations. Biometric checks confirmed the individual matched a profile that agencies had monitored for months. Martha Alicia Mendez Ogalar, also known by a high-risk designation in intelligence briefings. Multiple eyewitnesses near a fuel stop claimed they saw motorcycles accompanying a dark SUV under aerial surveillance. One mechanic told reporters, their formation looked coordinated, almost like a trained escort. How a motorcycle group appeared to act ahead of multiple federal agencies became the biggest question on the border this year. According to unverified reports, a confidential source suggested tactical location information may have been leaked, pushing a rapid move to secure the subject. Documents referenced by investigative outlets note that Mendez Ogalar had been listed as a top priority non-state threat, meaning her capture could trigger major countermeasures if mishandled. When the motorcycle group appeared first, the situation complicated federal efforts. Authorities could not confirm whether the group discovered her location independently or whether another source tipped them off. Internally, some investigators considered the possibility of a motivated assist. For over a decade, multiple agencies have documented contact points between certain motorcycle organizations and international criminal networks, particularly in narcotic supply and transport routes. These networks often involve cross-border roles. Analysts noted that when disputes escalate, outcomes can shift dramatically. Later, investigators confirmed the seized SUV was tied to a shell company connected to international financial activity. Inside, officials reported finding medical tools, travel documents, and encrypted devices referencing a term believed to signal a large financial demand. When early reporting speculated a $200 million figure, it sparked international reaction. Officials in Mexico publicly rejected ransom rumors. U.S. authorities declined to comment, citing ongoing review. Across social platforms, accounts tied to international groups began sharing symbols and coded posts. Digital chatter referenced a request to bring her home. Within 2 days, online sources claimed a $5 million reward appeared on unregulated forums seeking information on her whereabouts. To residents in border states, the situation felt like global criminal dynamics had crossed into their communities. Meanwhile, at an isolated ranch area outside San Angelo, rumors spread that the subject was being held in a secure improvised structure. Anonymous posts claimed she was being questioned to verify affiliations, and another alleged she had provided statements implicating officials, none independently confirmed. Even so, the claims generated significant urgency among intelligence services. By the end of the week, Mexico submitted a diplomatic request seeking custody, not from U.S. agencies, but from whoever held her. It was the first known case of a nation formally petitioning regarding a person allegedly held by civilians. Publicly, officials maintained she had already been detained in a prior operation. Internally, memos painted another picture. Photos dated days after the reported detention showed her with bandaged wrists beside a motorcycle. Metadata suggested a location in Crane County, Texas. As reporters arrived, members of the motorcycle group went low profile, removing identifiers and minimizing visibility. Local shop owners claimed people offered cash to wipe camera footage. The $200 million question dominated briefings. Was the ransom speculation accurate? One official suggested it was plausible, noting large sums moved through fronts in recent years. Others believed the situation stemmed from retaliation over criminal territory disputes. There are known global connections between motorcycle groups and the environments Mendez-Aguilar operated in. Over recent years, some motorcycle organizations expanded internationally, including in regions of Latin America where major criminal groups operate. Analysts say collaboration can emerge in narcotics logistics, particularly in Canada, where major distribution networks have blended roles. But reports suggest that cooperation may have fractured. Tensions rose. U.S. Marshals quietly launched a strategic operation to stop any attempted retrieval. At the same time, specialized units in Mexico gathered near the border, with satellite images showing armored vehicles stationed nearby. Whether they were preparing to intervene or protect information remained unclear. A convoy of unmarked vehicles was reported near the border by observers in Presidio. Witnesses noted drones in the sky and unusual radio activity, suggesting a coordinated operation. Shortly after, a minor incident was reported across the river, though authorities did not release further details. Online chatter immediately guessed at rescue attempts and law enforcement intervention, but no official confirmation followed. Hours later, a public announcement stated that the individual known as Martha Alicia Mendez-Aguilar was now in official protective custody. No footage or location details were shared, but experts pointed out that the release timestamp aligned with Fort Stockton, Texas, near where locals last saw the motorcycle group escort. Some commentators believed this suggested a lawful transfer into secure hands, while others assumed more information was being withheld. Regardless, the moment marked a turning point. What began as rumors evolved into a major national security conversation about the risks of expanding organized networks and cross-border influence. By bringing attention to this situation, a clearer spotlight has been placed on efforts to protect communities and maintain international safety. While motives remain debated, financial, personal, or reputational, the outcome is consistent. A high-priority individual is now safely contained, and the conversation around global criminal networks has moved into the public eye. As one observer commented online, accountability always arrives, sometimes faster than expected. By sunrise in the desert, headlines across the country were leading with the same line: motorcycle group turns over high-profile fugitive. The only released image showed her receiving medical care while accompanied by official personnel. Metadata from that image again aligned with Fort Stockton, supporting reports that a secure handover had occurred nearby. Analysts and commentators debated every angle. Was it coordinated from the beginning? Was it a civic assist by private citizens? Or was it a scenario where authorities acted quickly to ensure safety before rumors escalated further? For now, the answers remain sealed. What is clear, this moment has shifted attention toward international cooperation, border security, and the evolving nature of transnational crime prevention. The event demonstrated how fast situations can unfold and how national and local agencies work to manage sensitive developments. That's where this chapter concludes, for now. But according to early reports, further investigations and international coordination efforts are already underway. This story isn't closing, it's moving into a new phase. If you enjoyed this video, tap the videos on your screen to continue learning more about global security and real-world investigative efforts.